Hello my beauties, welcome back to my channel. As you can probably see from the title, today I'm going to bust all those myths about sunscreen. I actually have done a video about sunscreen. Just in case you haven't seen already, pause this video and go check that one out because that actually explains how the sunscreen UVA, UVB and UVC works. There's a lot of myths I need to address and clarify for you guys today, as well as just pointing out some things that you guys need to be aware of when choosing the right sunscreen for your skin type. Number one, the lighter or the fairer your skin means that you are more susceptible to sunburnt than you are if you were a darker skin. However, it doesn't mean that using a higher SPF means you're going to get more protected, because the number behind the SPF does not indicate the amount of protection you're going to get. It only indicates the amount of time you need to reapply. However, I also want to mention here, when you have darker skin, you are less likely to be sunburned than if you have light or fairer skin, and that has to do with the amount of melanin in the skin type itself. Now, number two, the number behind the SPF, as I had mentioned earlier, is an indication of how many minutes you need to reapply. Scientifically, it has been proven that it takes about 10 minutes before your skin starts to burn. So the number is times by 10 minutes. In some other countries, it could be 15 minutes, but let's just be safe and go with the lower number. So for example, if you apply something that has an SPF of 20, then 20 times 10 is 200 minutes before you have to reapply. And that applies to if you're using SPF 30, 50, 40, whatever it is. Number three, this also means that when you put on sunscreen, for example, a moisturizer with SPF 20, and then a foundation that has SPF 40, and then a powder that has SPF 30, because you go, well, I can add 20 plus 30 plus 40, then I get, 90 minutes of sun protection. No, it doesn't work like that. It does not add up that way. You actually need to pick out the one with the highest SPF number and then times that by 10 minutes. So for in this case, it will be the SPF 40, and 40 times 10 is 400 minutes. Now, I actually had a lot of beauty consultants say that you should be wearing sunscreen at nighttime. That is the biggest no-no. I know there's some logic and truth behind having UVA and UVB rays from the lights in your house or from TV. However, I don't think it's necessary to use SPF at nighttime because there's two reasons. You should be using a moisturizer or a serum that works deeper level into the skin, that helps rejuvenate the skin and heal the skin as you sleep. Sunscreen is something that you apply to the top of your skin and only sits on the surface. So when you're applying something on the top of your surface, nothing gets absorbed, and it can cause you to have oily or clogged pores at nighttime. So if you have acne or if you have acne prone skin, then I would highly recommend to not use SPF at nighttime. Number five, you should definitely choose a water resistant sunscreen if you are someone who goes out swimming or if you sweat a lot. However, water resistant does not equate to waterproof. Water resistant sunscreens tend to last up to 40 minutes under the sun, or some really high ones will last up to 80 minutes, but you still need to reapply after that specific amount of time. Number six, babies should use baby-specific sunscreen because those sunscreen have less and fewer products that will actually irritate the skin. A lot of sunscreens nowadays have added chemicals, parabens, fragrances, preservatives, and those can irritate sensitive or baby skin types. So therefore, make sure you use an infant or a baby sunscreen specifically for babies. Any children or any baby under the age of 6 months should not be in the sun at all. Number seven, so if you have sensitive skin, there are definitely sunscreens targeted for your skin type as well. There's no big difference between sensitive sunscreen and regular sunscreen. The biggest difference, it has less ingredients. For example, preservatives, parabens, fragrances, and so forth. Two most important ingredients that you need in sunscreen is zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Number eight, just because you have sunscreen on doesn't mean that you are fully protected. You still should definitely be wearing sunglasses, a hat, or clothing that covers your shoulders, and try to be in the shade as much as you can and not be like sunbaking, like out in the sun exposed for like hours and hours on end. Number nine, sunscreen does not cause breakouts. This is probably the biggest myth. Everyone says, oh, I don't like to wear sunscreen because it's so oily, it makes my skin break out. There are definitely specific sunscreen targeted for acne-prone skin, which usually have less oils or less emollients, sometimes less parabens, less fragrance, less other products that might irritate the skin, especially alcohol. However, the only reason why it will cause breakout is if you don't wash off at the end of the day. Because sunscreen sits on top of the skin, it's not allowing anything to penetrate through or come out, therefore making sure that you remove it like if you were removing makeup at the end of the day, then you'll be fine. Number 10. If your sunscreen gets heated above 30 degrees, or if it's past expiry date, it's more likely to lose its effectiveness. Therefore, when it says that it's an SPF 20, it might not last 200 minutes. So it's definitely very important to make sure you keep your sunscreen in a cool and shaded place, as well as checking the expiry date before using it. There's nothing going to be drastically wrong with the sunscreen. Sometimes you can see separation in the sunscreen or discoloration in the sunscreen when it's being exposed in the sun, or if you had it for a very long time. Definitely make sure that you use it within the time frame. Sunscreen is going to protect you from the sun's rays and the sun damage. However, it might not necessarily protect you from tanning or going a bit darker. So it's normal to be slightly darker than you are if you are under the sun for like an hour, but you are still protected from the sun's damage if you have sunscreen on. Now I'll just quickly touch base with you guys about what to choose and what to look for in a sunscreen when you're shopping. As I have mentioned, definitely choose baby specific sunscreen for your infants or children because those are targeted for that skin type. If you have sensitive skin, you might even be able to use a baby sunscreen because it has less ingredients, or a sunscreen that has no alcohol, no parabens, no fragrance, no preservatives. If you have oily skin, you try to avoid sunscreen with a lot of oil, so make sure that you check in the ingredients list that the top 5 ingredients doesn't contain any oils. And if you have dry skin, you can definitely use any sunscreen as well as a moisturizer underneath your sunscreen, so you make sure that your skin's hydrated first and then applying the sunscreen on top. I know a lot of people don't like the feeling of sunscreen because it feels greasy or sticky and it feels like an oily film on top of your skin. Like I said before, as long as you wash it off at the end of the day and it comes off like as if you were wearing makeup, your skin will be fine. And I cannot stress how important it is to wear sunscreen because the damage from the sun to your skin is irreversible, and sometimes you might not notice it straight away, but as you age, you'll see people who don't protect their skin when they're a younger age have known to regret later on. So make sure you definitely wear sunscreen every day. Wear it in your foundation or your moisturizer, or even just using a tinted moisturizer with a little bit of sunscreen so you can spread it out and apply it to your skin like you would as a moisturizer.